So my name is Angelina Galiteva, and I'm here to talk about 100% renewable energy. Now, I've worked in the utility field since I graduated from law school. I decided, well, what's the biggest impact we can have? What's the most capital-intensive industry of all? It's energy. Energy doesn't respect boundaries. Energy doesn't respect borders. Energy has no respect necessarily for where pollution goes. And I had the misfortune of being in Eastern Europe when Chernobyl happened, so witnessing how energy can cause transboundary pollution, how nobody takes responsibility, how your governments can lie to you, how they can endanger your water and your air and your children and your future, with everybody having deniability that this was just an accident, wasn't good enough. So if we wanted to have economic development and if we wanted to have a future, we needed to have an energy portfolio that made sense, that I had a voice in, that the future had a voice in, and that I didn't need to feel afraid would explode on me one day, cause damage, pollute my water, pollute my air, and give me a worse quality of life than I have. So climate, and the debate about climate is really about local issues as well. Do we want clean air? Do we want clean water? Do we have a better quality of life when we have the clean air and the clean water? So I had the good fortune of working for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power when we started the renewable energy portfolios and the Green LA movement. And we've seen quite an evolution, and what we started here actually has now become a global movement. We started the Renewables 100 Policy Institute 10 years ago in 2007. Because you know what? Saying, oh, we're going to have 10% renewable energy, and then the utility goes, oh, that's dangerous, it's going to destabilize the grid. Well, we got to 10%, it didn't destabilize the grid. How about 20%? Oh, no, that's going to be really dangerous. We're going to have Armageddon. Well, Armageddon didn't happen. We've managed quite well with 20% renewables on the grid. The Europeans went further. They went to 30 and 40%. And we work with our colleagues in Europe, and you know how the Germans are, Farfach-Nugan. We said, let's go for the 100%. It's really great. And the Germans decided to do a study. Yes, we will do a study, and we will decarbonize. And then they came back and they said, 100% is really hard. I said, yeah, what's the realistic number? 98.3%. Germans, who said let's go 98.3% to the moon, for crying out loud? We should go for the next 100%. Or, you know what? Call for 100%, get to 99 or 98.3% and declare success, because we're practically almost there. So then we had the 33% portfolio standard. We reached it. It was okay. Armageddon didn't occur. The grid was fine. And now, because I also happen to be on the board of the California Independent Operator, going to 50% is not a problem. We can get to 50%, as SB 350 calls, by 2030. The issue is, what are we going to do by 2045? And all of us are very fortunate to have a new goal, which is the 100% renewable energy for electricity by 2045, which is SB 100. And that is really important for us. Why? Because California and California's actions on climate resonate around the world, especially in the context we're all living in right now. We are the 6th largest economy in the world. Our economy is bigger than Putin's Russia, for crying out loud. I know what we do makes a difference. What we say makes a difference. California's bold action back in Paris at the COP, where Governor Brown stood up and said, you know what, we'll have the coalition of the willing, and we're going to have a subnational memorandum of understanding called the Under 2 MOU, which was the most powerful vehicle right now, with so many signatories representing more than a quarter of global GDP. Basically saying we're going to commit to no more than 2% increase in temperature, 2 degrees increase in temperature, and no more than 2 tons per capita of CO2 emissions. Guess what that means? The answer at the back of the book is, yes, 100% renewable energy for sure in the electricity sector, but that only gets us to about 50% of where we need to be. 40% of our greenhouse gases are vehicles and the building sector. But guess what? Electricity can solve those issues. And the wonderful future that we can build is based on electricity and on energy that's renewable, because we can power our cars with batteries powered by renewable energy. We can have zero-net energy buildings. We can be decarbonized, decentralized, and digitized. And it also empowers our youth to look towards the future and a future that's not in the coal mines mining coal for energy, but a future that's in the digital sector, a future that's building solar power, wind power, hydropower that does not pollute the water, that does not pollute the air. And this is something that other countries have picked up as well. I work with Brazil, I work with Africa, I work with many countries around the world, and everybody wants to have that clean portfolio and is looking towards California. And we think we're great, we think we're leaders, but you know what? There's others who are also making this decision, and they're not making it only for climate. We're lucky now. This is the lowest cost alternative. Going green is the lowest cost in the energy field. Solar is cheaper than anything else. Wind is cheaper than anything else. We don't have to argue about costs anymore. It can be an economic decision, and it can be a decision that's a hedge. And there's an interesting state and an interesting case study that I like to talk about. Who knows Berkshire Hathaway? Warren Buffett, maybe not the most environmentally sensitive person in the face of this earth. He owns a little, company called Mid-American that powers most of Iowa. Guess what? They now have a goal of 100% renewable energy for Iowa with Mid-American, with lower rates than before, and they're the largest single taxpayer in Iowa. So there's others that are picking up. It's not just us on the West Coast. It's not just us, the greenies. It's not just us eating kale, in our granola bars and wearing our Birkenstock sandals. Others are doing it for economic reasons, because it's a hedge, because it makes economic sense. And that's fine, and it's good. We had the regulations, though. It's the regulations, it's the laws, it's the commitment that drives the action. And we should be supportive of laws that encourage this forward thinking, that go big, that say, you know what, we can get to the moon. Heck, we can get beyond the moon. We can get to 100%. And if we get to 200%, so what if we have overgeneration? We're not going to curb it. We're not going to dump it for free. We're going to power batteries. We're going to power communities. We're going to make hydrogen. We're going to pump that hydrogen into the gas grid, and we're going to make renewable gas that can displace natural gas so that everything is emission-free. And that is something that SB 100 puts us on a path to. It says that we can get to 100% renewable energy. We should be supportive of those initiatives. Those are goals that deserve our attention. And because we don't want to be depressed that there's nothing we can do and the climate is going to hell and we're all going to die, no. There's plenty we can do. We're going to be able to drive those electric cars. We can ride share. We can make sure that we live in a zero-net energy home. We can live in communities that are transit-friendly. We can have renewable energy power our homes. We can have microgrids. And we can empower our children to study the future of energy, which is going to be completely interconnected. So I have to call for action for all of you. Take up your phones and do two things. One is, download the app for ISO today, and this is self-advertising because if you want to know in real time how much renewable energy is generated in your state, what it costs and where it's going, that app gives you all the information. This is the most transparent grid in the world, and we're really proud we have it, and California has achieved that. The next one is access your web app that you have for this event. Visit Climate Day LA, take action. Click on the link to support 100% renewable legislation. Make sure you do support it. Let your voice be heard. We want bold action. We want visionary laws, because those are the laws that ensure progress. Yeah, sure, we stumble along the way, and maybe the hot water bill didn't go as far as we wanted to when it started, but look at the solar program we have now. Yeah, Solectria did fail, Solyndra did fail, but look at the plethora of successful companies we have now, where renewables are the lowest cost, the most efficient, the highest value, and this is where we should be focused on. And this is something that can be centered in LA. After all, it was LA that made the first bold step forward. So thanks so much for having me here. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you, Jonathan. I know I'm the only thing that stands between you and the break. Please go outside, have some refreshments, have some food, enjoy the rest of the event, and thank you all for coming, and more importantly, for staying.